Welcome back to the Flogsville podcast. It is the round 11 wrap. We're here. It's the buys, but we're going to review what went on the weekend because it's a fascinating round before the buys, boys. And joining me, we've got our two regular co-hosts, Coach of the Rabbitohs, Daniel. Hello, mate.
Hello, Scott. Fantastic to be here as usual. And not a lot to preview, but a lot to review as we'll get into.
Absolutely. It'll be a short pod this week. And we've got Coach of the Guns and Roses, Ben. Hello, mate.
Good evening, mate. Yes, relatively good to be here. I can't wait to get through my matchup. That'll be very quick. But very important weekend of results, and it shaped a bit of the ladder. So good to get through.
Oh, it sure did. It was a lot of some people getting injuries. There was a bit on selection and some rookie issues, but we all came out the side of it. And let's talk about the team that dominated the week. Really, there was a couple of teams that were up there, but it was phenomenal there on the Sunday that just ticked over, courtesy of Tim Taranto, inspired captain's choice from Tom, up against Port Adelaide. Tough matchup, but Timmy was sensational. Really, like he was just everywhere. Had the 4 sausage rolls as well. So 22.76 for Fenno. Talk us through this one, boys. It was just solid all round from Tom.
Yeah, we'll get this right this week that I'll start after a bit of a shaky start last week. Yeah, I think you nailed it, Scotty. Taranto as a captain, there were a few teams that benefited from that, and Fenno was definitely one of them. He's got Fiorini with the 33, as a lot of people did, but just flicking through, even blokes like Tom Stewart, who probably haven't been pumping out the great scores of late, coming out with 120, Jordan Dawson with 135. But just a really solid week for Fenno's side. And really, it probably wasn't the most high scoring of rounds that we've seen compared to previous weeks. So, 22.76 was a pretty impressive score given the circumstances this week.
Yeah, and you touched on it, Scotty. Obviously, you would have known this firsthand playing him this week. But, Timmy Taranto, the skipper on Sunday, kicking 4 sausage rolls from the midfield, was very impressive against the mighty Power. But did catch up with the coach of a phenomenal Sunday morning, and there was a little bit of head wobble, thinking their chances were quite good Sunday afternoon, and it turned out that way. But, to be fair, it could have been even bigger to score here with, Will Ashcroft, still a popular name, but only 46 for him. As Bravs mentioned, the pass to 33 and George Wardlaw, a popular trading option, only just scraping 50 there. So all on field, all could have gone a little bit bigger and had a bigger score, but he'll certainly take it.
Yeah, absolutely. Lots of head wobble. That's always good to see. We love that. Let's move on to the spud of the weekend. For a while, boys, I don't know if you were catching it, but I had a bit of time on my hands on Sunday. It looked like Team GC. It was going to go again. But they survived. But this week it was Peter G with the lowest score with a 2016, boys. We know that Peter loves the pod and he was pig a couple of weeks ago. But just Sean Darcy, unfortunately, headlines Pete's disappointing score this week.
Yeah, you could say he was a little bit hamstrung there, Scotty, with Big Darcy going down. But Dom Sheed, a man we praised last week for his 130, crashing really back down to earth for the 64. And, other types of Mason Wood, 77, not getting it done. Darth McPherson's been on a bit of a slide lately. He's unique in the back line there. And as we'll get to, the Rat with a lovely 30 just filling out his defensive line. So, an unfortunate week for Pete. We always know he's a little bit up and down. And unfortunately, this was one of his down weeks.
Yeah, great summary. I think, we've said this all along. There's probably about 4 or 5 teams that are genuine yo-yos, and King Kunta has really proven that. Pig, less than a month ago, and now down the bottom of the barrel this week. So, we'll wait and see what team he has after the buys.
Yeah, absolutely. Great analysis, boys. Let's get into our first matchup, and it was Smith Scripps with a bit of an upset, boys, beating the Armour Crays quite comfortably. Liam having the second highest score of the round with a 22.67. Headline there, Sam Walsh on the Friday night was very good for Liam, but James Sicily, wow, you got the best of both worlds, really. 165, boys.
Yeah, I think, I mean, Sicily was a unique for a few people this week, Scotty, and yeah, just a massive score against the Saints, which we won't talk anymore about that game, but a massive score for James Sicily, which has had a massive impact on this game. And I think when you combine it with the fact that we've got Darcy on the other side of the pod, that's virtually game over before you even start looking at any other scores. So I guess for Sam's sake, to only go down by 80, considering that there's literally a 130-point differential between two players, not necessarily correlating players, but still between two players, shows that there's not a lot between these two sides. But it's a massive win for Lamb. We've said that he's been on a bit of a slide of late, and this is a good one for him to get before the buys, and we know he'll be strong afterwards.
Yes, yeah, absolutely nailed it, Rabs. I was going to mention he was on a bit of a slide in that 7th spot, and unfortunately, he's no longer for those teams outside the 8, as I'm sure we'll get to. But yeah, really strong performance from Mulesy, and probably been a bit deserved over the last couple of weeks, getting a bit unlucky. So I'm sure Sam will be all right. He's had a really good start of the year and sitting in 3rd there. So both these teams looking strong for the second half of the year.
Absolutely. I think that's, 2 top 8 teams. I think they'll be in the mix on the business end of the year. All right. We've spoken about Phenomenal. 22.76. His boys were just far too good for mine. With a 21.86, unfortunately, just a little bit below par. Headline, boys, a bit of controversy on Friday night. This is the first time it's ever happened, but I swear on anything that I checked my phone about 15 minutes before Sydney Carlton started. Right, Zach Merritt, VC, beautiful, West Coast, let's go. And then my trade-in for Josh Kelly, Rory Laird, I thought, well, put the C on him. Last game of the round, it's going to be wet against Brisbane. He's going to tackle his way to a good score. And then some notifications just started popping up. And then I couldn't believe that Errol Goulden had somehow become my captain. I don't know, boys. That's what happened. I've no idea how it happened. But from that point on, the weekend was a bit of a disaster for me. Got COVID as well, so it wasn't great. But feeling a lot better now. But disappointing round for my boys.
Just one question there, Scott. You did mention that you had COVID. What was your rat test occurring at a similar stage to the Rats' pathetic performance on Saturday night, or was that a separate occasion?
Oh, no, it was a little bit after the rat. But, I was here Saturday night watching that. Him and Fiorini go around in the hot conditions of Darwin. It just, I was a bit conflicted because the Bont was great. He was going so well, and just the rat and the pastor just could not get near the ball. But they've been good. I think the rat's he's served a purpose for us. He's served a purpose. He's made some cash. Prior to this week, he's been really reliable. Whereas Fiorini he's been okay for us. So yeah, these things happen. It's just unfortunate that Tom didn't have the rat as well. So, but yeah, just Errol Goulden 101. That was okay, I guess. But in a round where I could have had, Laird or Merritt, who scored a little bit more, would have got me in the 22s, which would have been nice. But oh well, we move on to the buys, boys.
I think we just have to make go over the fact again about this straight captaincy, Scotty. It's been you've provided some really strong feedback for some sides in this competition, in particular one franchise based out of Canberra these days, who I really encourage some feedback from that coach, but obviously too busy to respond to that notification. And yeah, there's not much else. The side's in good nick, Scotty. You'll be fine. The Rats, it was a bit negative on the weekend, unlike your test.
No, correct. Very good, mate. I honestly have no idea. So when you're on the app, just be careful. I'm always usually a desktop operator, but the last couple of years I've sort of swung to the app a little bit. This is the first time it's come back to bite me. Yes, mate.
Would there be any truth in the rumor about the Huawei malfunction being a cause of this at all?
No, mate. I've had a new phone for about 2 years now. So Samsung, there was a malfunction maybe with the Samsung, but not sure. I honestly have no idea what happened. I checked it, 20 minutes left before the bounce. Yep, no late changes. Sweet as. And then, next minute, Errol Goulden's got the C on him. So who knows, boys? We better move on. We'll be talking. I still can't believe it. So we'll move on to our next matchup. It was the Burtons in what was a lot closer than probably what we predicted last week, boys, with just a 26-point win for the Burpins up against the B Sharps. A little bit of a disappointing score for Brad, but still got enough to get the win, boys. Why did he get the win?
Yeah, well, it's as you said, Scotty, it's one of those ones that we say every week. There's some games that can be season-defining ones, and this could have been one because it would have been a really disappointing loss for Brad. But he has snuck across the line. When you look at both sides, both fielding a pretty ordinary score with Fiorini and Long on the B Sharp side, but yeah, just a little bit more consistent the performers for Brad, but yeah, it's not much of a margin here, and things could have easily been different. But yeah, very very important win for him because it's a game he wouldn't have wanted to drop going into the buys.
Yeah, spot on, Rabs. I think for Dale, it would have been a real, out of the bag sort of win, and he's sitting in 12th there. It would have really propelled him up into 8th or 9th, leading into the second half of the year, and he hasn't had a great start, so that would have been pretty handy. But as you say, for Brad, probably deserving of a win considering how his first half of the year has gone.
Very nice, boys. Well, we've got to move on to our next matchup. Unfortunately for you, Ben, you went down for the first time ever to Hoffleberry FC. Surge with a very good score, led by James Sicily. Talk us through your matchup, mate.
Yeah, we won't be reviewing this one for long, Scotty. Unfortunately, every star aligned for Surge this week. Pre-teams obviously mentioned a few outs on our side and what he would do. He did bring in Lockie McAndrew on for a riveting 18 on Friday night, so I thought I was in with a nice start. But unfortunately from there, it just unravelled. Sicily obviously proving too big for us, and just lots of uniques going 110, 130 plus, which was too much for us. So it does hurt a little bit if Josh Kelly was out, Sicily was coming in, and that would have been it. But anyway, that's the way the cookie crumbles, Scotty. Not a great ladder position for either team, but we'll try to rectify that over these next few weeks.
Quite a stunning result, Scott. It'd have to be said, and I think there were words in last week's podcast along the lines of "he's never beaten me," and it just had a vibe of was that Nathan Brown all those years ago, just holding out the footy to that player as he's ready to run into the open goal, and then losing the game later. So obviously a very disappointing result for Ben's side, but did say that everything went Surge's way. He did field an 18, so I'm not sure you can say everything went quite his way, but after that, definitely everything went his way. But just a few boys on Ben's side, obviously not quite getting the job done. So costly loss going into the break, but still time after it. And massive win for Surge, and I'm sure he's up and about.
Sure he would be, especially the alpha dog, big dog, Christian Petrarca actually doing something for once. He was very impressive Saturday watching that game. Looks hungry without Oliver there. But Dawson, he finds a way. When the Crows win, he just sits behind the ball the last 5 minutes. He takes kick-ins. He takes marks behind the ball. He just knows how to find the footy, Jordan Dawson. So it's a very nice luxury to have him, that's for sure. Let's move on, boys. I'm sure we'll want to do that, especially you, Ben. To our next matchup, we talked about our spud of the week, King Kunta. But it was the Crouching Lions with not an impressive score at all, with a 20-86, just getting the job done against Peter G. So it's one of those ones, we've talked about them a lot. It's a win. That's all that matters. But what went on in this matchup for Brett?
Well, it's been one of those years for Brett, really. We've sort of said it's not to be critical, but it's because the Crouching Lions have always been just about a lot for the top four every single season. So it has been a little bit unusual to see them sort of in that mid-table position, and he sort of goes into the buys at 5 and 6, and probably lucky to be in the 8 really with a record of 5 and 6. But an important win for him. But scores haven't really been tracking in the right direction for the Crouching Lions. So a massive 4 weeks coming up for Brett with his side, because as we've said throughout the years, he's always around the mark, and I'm sure he'll come back with a much stronger side. But yeah, quite a fortunate victory, because he wouldn't have knocked off many other sides this week with that score.
Yeah, a bit to unpack on Brett's side. Obviously, Ollie Hollands being injured on Friday night with a 40, not a great start. Lockie McAndrew, as we previously mentioned, he's fielding in for an 18. But noticing down on his bench, Scotty, having Josh Kelly and Mitch Duncan still there from the last couple of weeks of carnage. Really, yeah, you have to sort of commend Brett on winning this week based on those two names on his bench and fielding some, rookies he'd rather not. So, you know, sometimes it's all about who you play, Scotty, not the best score necessarily, and that's the case for Brett this week. And yeah, he sits on the 8. We know he can be a dangerous player in the second half of the season.
Absolutely. And Jack McRae there, his last couple of weeks, he's been sort of back to his best, which is annoying because we don't like him. But some people have got him, so that's good. He's got forward status, so that's good for him. I certainly won't be bringing him in at any point this year. Let's move on to our next matchup. Team GC going down 2048. The Keys getting a much-needed win to stay in touch with the 8. With a 21-69, boys. What did you see from this matchup?
Yeah, a familiar name's coming up in a lot of these matchups, Scotty, and that's James Sicily being unique again in this matchup. And when the difference is 100 points, he's pretty much the man. So, you know, on Zach's side, we've touched on it. There's plenty of uniques there, plenty of, blokes not doing heaps. And unfortunately, that's not what gets you wins in this competition. So, a big week for Jake. We mentioned last week he's sort of been a little bit unlucky recently. And, one of those teams with a higher team value and things like that outside the 8. So we suspected this would happen this week. And, we think he might be a strong player in the second half of the year.
Yeah, no, great summary. And, as you said, really important win for Jake. Just on Team GC's side, I know we often perform a bit of a Harris Andrews watch. And I guess in some positive news for Team GC, Harris Andrews pumped out a breathtaking 19 on Sunday. So could have been worse for Team GC, but yeah, still struggling to really get moving, Golden Child, and important win for the Keys.
Very good, Rabs. Wasn't a good day for Brisbane. Not good conditions for Harris in the wet here in Adelaide. But interesting the VC on Caleb Sarong. Like, I love Caleb Sarong, but maybe some other options. But who's me to talk about captaincy this week? I can't say anything. Let's move on.
Pot kettle, Scotty. Pot kettle.
Yeah, but fair call that. Rabbitohs, unfortunately, your team, Daniel, going down to the Liberatores with a 22-47. Hugh just continues his great run, top of the league, heading into the buys, boys. Talk us through your matchup for Rabs.
Yeah, disappointing one, if I'm honest. I know Hugh's been flying and he was always going to be the favourite, but obviously pretty excited whilst conflicted with James Sicily's performance of 165. But then, to be honest, all my pods stunk it up after that, and it basically was irrelevant. Where on Hugh's side, he had 5 of his pods bringing up tons and two going very, very close. So, I brought in Jack Steele this week, couldn't quite afford Merritt, and he gave me a 78, which wasn't quite what I was after. And Bailey Smith didn't back up last week with 67. So, and then the Rat obviously just ended any chance that we had. So, disappointing result, but I think hopefully we're capable of more than that. But Hugh's team just continue to fly along, and he's definitely the team to beat this year, going into the break. And the rest of us have got 4 weeks to try and catch him up.
Yeah, and for him, boys, it'll be a pivotal 4 weeks with his ranking sitting in the 130s still. We obviously this is a competition-based podcast, but we love that sort of work, and I think he's reasonably well set up. So I think you mentioned there, Rabs, it's just his consistency this year. All of his pods basically doing the job, I think you nailed it. He'll be hard to beat this year.
Absolutely, boys. Let's move on to our last matchup. It was Total Eclipse of the Heart going down to the Glen Manton Fan Club, boys. The Mantons just doing enough there with a 94-point win. How did Sean's boys get the job done this week?
They got it done with a nice start. Sam Walsh as vice captain, and looping him on. Rabs' man Hayden Perryman, he was not the man this week, only scoring 59 for Sean, and that was his last scorer. So, apart from that, Mason Redmond looks a new name to my eyes, and Jordan Goey both going 125 plus. He's going to get the job done for the Mountains. So, despite sitting in 15th still after the win, he gets something rolling. And for Hills, quite a disappointing week. We sort of touched on him last week, being a side that's moved some players around lately and looking quite promising, and he's delivered this performance. So he'll be disappointed, I'm sure. But yeah, that's about it.
Yeah, totally agree. I think, obviously a good win for Sean, and a few of those pods going pretty big. But as I said, Hills has definitely been showing signs of improvement the last month, and this is a game based on that he was definitely favourite going into. So to drop it, both teams really in strife when you look at the ladder position, and Hills' side is a game that probably has got away from him.
Yeah, exactly right, boys. And speaking of the ladder, let's just have a look at it. If I can get the ladder up, that would be very nice. We'll just review where we are. Here we go. Just give me a second. Very good. So let's start from the bottom. It is Team GC all the way down there, boys. We haven't got long left here, but maybe just a word or two on each side as they go into the buys.
No chance.
Took the words right out of my mouth. 1 and 10, almost irrelevant.
Almost irrelevant. The Glen Mountain Fan Club, 15th.
Oh, disappointing. Two very different words that came to the table.
Disappointing and dangerous. Total Eclipse of the Heart.
Oh, geez. Finally switched on.
How much more?
Hoffleberry FC.
Big ball, Petrarca, alpha male. Man, I don't know, something like that.
That's good. The B Sharps.
Disappointing.
Disappointing. Okay. King Kunta.
Yo-yo.
Yo-yo. Very good. The Guns and Roses.
Still with the Charts.
Yeah. Dangerous.
Very, very not top 100.
Very not top 100. The Keys. Smoky.
Promising.
Yeah, could come home like a train, I reckon, the Keys.
Nice. Crouching Lions.
Train wreck.
Vulnerable.
Vulnerable. Excellent. Smith's Crips.
Been unlucky. They'll turn around.
Yeah, literally the same word for me. Unlucky, I reckon, the Crips.
The Rabbitohs. No, in the mix, the Rabbitohs are in the top 8.
Eerily like St Kilda. I'll put it like that.
Oh,
Like St Kilda.
I didn't realise the outlook about that. I didn't realise the outlook about that bleak. Phenomenal. Around the mark.
Around the mark. Head wobble. Yeah.
Head wobble. Yep.
Head wobble. My boys.
Straight up captains.
Straight up captains. Best bench in the comp. I've got the best bench. McRae.
Real contender.
Yeah, same again, really, for Sam. Same again. The Burpin Burtons.
I'd say he's the challenger because I think at the moment he's obviously on ladder, but he's the second best team in it at the moment.
Agree.
Yeah.
And then the Liberty Race.
Hat
watch. Nah, very nicely done, boys. Well, we might leave it there. We're not going to have any podcasts for the next few weeks because it is, of course, the buys. Don't forget to trade and all that sort of stuff. We've got 3 trades to play with, which is fantastic. Nice to get rid of some spuds in our team. So enjoy the break, boys, and we'll catch you in a few weeks' time and see what has gone on with your side, really, as we head towards finals, because it's going to come around quick. It's going to come around very quickly. Any last couple of thoughts, Ben and Daniel?
No. Good luck. See you in July. Go the power.
See you in July, indeed. All right. See you in July.